All right, let's get into it, man. Jokes aside, let's get into it. All right. For those unaware, a couple years ago, Sony saw what Microsoft was doing when Microsoft was collecting all the Infinity Stones like Thanos. They were buying up Activision. They were buying up Bethesda. They got all the studios under that umbrella. For a while, people thought Microsoft was going to buy Ubisoft. They thought they were going to buy other studios as well and form an Infinity Gauntlet where they release games exclusively to their platform. And this had their main competitor, Sony, nervous. So nervous that they did, in my opinion, something that's not talked about enough. They made one of the stupidest moves in the last 10 years in the gaming space. In response to Microsoft, which hasn't been the greatest move themselves, they decided to buy the creators of Destiny, Bungie Studios, who were also the creators of Halo before they sold it to Microsoft. Now, the problem with Sony panic buying Bungie in response to Microsoft so they could have their own thing, because they wanted to get more into live service games, is reports came out a few months ago that Sony did not check the books on Bungie before purchasing them, meaning they didn't do an audit on their financials to find out if they were making profit. And not only did they not do an audit to make sure they were making profit, they didn't see the profit margins, because that matters too. They didn't know what. They just knew Destiny was popular. They said, we want live service games. So they cut a check for a few $1 billion. They overpaid the fuck.
Off the blue chews, bub.
Shout out to Ajax with the sub. They overpaid for Bungie like a motherfucker. And, you know, it ended up being one of the greatest finesses that we've ever seen in gaming history. They were reporting that the CEO of Bungie had 25 sports cars, man. And somehow not paying their fucking employees. That's the crazy part. I don't feel bad for Sony, because Sony is a corporation that got finessed by another corporation. That was the article that came out a few months ago. We have another one to follow up that states Sony took a $204 million hit as Destiny 2 falls short of expectations. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to learn the concept of diamond hands. Stop panic selling. Stop panic buying stuff. Do your research. Sony has confirmed that Destiny 2 has fallen short of expectations, forcing the company to record an estimated $204 million impairment related to Bungie assets. During its Q2 financial report of 2025 earnings call, Sony acknowledged that the popular shooter's player engagement and revenue has been weaker than anticipated since the 2022 acquisition of Bungie for $3.6 billion. In specific, they said, regarding Destiny 2, partially due to changes in the competitive environment, the level of sales and user engagement has not reached the expectation we had at the time of the acquisition of Bungie, said their CFO. And to that, I would like to say, I have no doubt in my mind that that's true. That's not true. But I would love to ask somebody at Sony why. And this is why I don't feel bad for them. Not because they fucked up twice. Not only did they not check the books and financially audit them before purchasing the company, why did you buy Bungie on the tail end of the lifespan of Destiny 2? Destiny 2 came out when? Guys, it's been almost 10 years Destiny 2 came out. Goddamn, I'm getting old. This shit came out almost 10 years ago. You waited to buy the game when it was on the decline, and then you're upset and complaining to the press that you didn't make any money? Why didn't you buy Bungie before Destiny 2 came out so you could cash out on that game? That game has more competition. Hardly anybody's playing that game besides hardcore Destiny fans. And it's not it's not because it's the worst game ever. Well, I don't know the current state of the game, but it's more so like I think it just ran its course. Every good thing has to come to an end, and you chose to hop in on the tail end. That's why there's the concept of buy low and sell high. They bought high and then complain there's no money to make. You buy low, you buy into something low so you have wiggle room to make a profit. That's why when you take all you broke ass PS4 niggas, when you take your PS4 to the pawn shop and you demand $200, nigga, they're not getting more than $20 for that PS4 if they try to resell it. So you asking for $200 is ridiculous. Take this $2 so they can make an $18 profit. Just some negotiating advice. Always try to be fair. Make sure that you give them wiggle room to make some money and you can make $1. You feel what I'm saying? You said, but my PS4 is still powerful. So into oblivion. And then not only did they buy it at the tail end of it, they bought it when the worst DLC in the game came out. I remember people hated that last DLC. So I would imagine that hurt the sales as well because it reviewed poorly with the critics as well as the players, and other players are out there saying don't buy this shit. This is not Destiny 2. Yeah, Lightfall. This is not Destiny 2. So the last chance you had to make some money off of Destiny 2, because I can't express this enough. Sony missed out on the initial disc sales of Destiny 2 and all the other expansions. It only had one expansion left. It reviewed poorly, which is no surprise. It's the last one. Bungie probably didn't care. It's the last hurrah. So there wasn't a lot of money to be made. This is nobody but Sony's fault. I better not see nobody in no Twitter spaces trying to defend. How could Bungie do this? This is why nobody likes Dada. No, how could Sony do this? This is a multi-billion-dollar company with some of the best lawyers in the world, some of the best auditors in the world they could have hired. Did they take the time to hire anybody and look into this company? No. Instead, they panic bought because Microsoft was out here buying up studios. And now both Microsoft and Sony look stupid. You know what I say? Free all the studios, my nigga. Free all the studios. Except for Bethesda. They deserve their failure. World War Bethesda over here, but shout out to the Fallout TV show. That's good though. When asked, oh wait. Tao noted that Sony has downwardly revised the business projection for the time being and recorded an impairment loss against a portion of its assets. 31.1 billion, approximately 204 million impairment, combined with an additional 18 billion yen, which is 118 million, expense tied to development cost corrections. Tao said these adjustments were necessary to reflect the game's current performance, which has been affected by lower player activity and market competition. When asked whether this impairment could be the start of the further write-downs, Tao clarified that the goodwill from Bungie's acquisition remains secure. This is an impairment loss of Bungie's intangible assets, she said. As for goodwill, that is supported by the whole game segment, so there will not be any impairment loss for goodwill. For this time, Destiny 2's game performance did not reach the expectations we had when we acquired Bungie. She added that future risks remain for both Destiny 2 and Bungie's upcoming shooter marathon. And this is the sad part, because the only real winner in this situation is the former CEO of Bungie. After he got his 25 cars and ran off like Sly Cooper, he ran off on the plug when he got his money for selling Bungie. Bungie is stuck with all this pressure on their back to produce for Sony because Sony wants more live service games. And to be 100%, y'all. Matter of fact, I want everybody to do me a favor right now. You dumb as hell if you actually do this shit, but just entertain the joke. I want you to pick up your phone right now and call your best friend and tell that nigga to pre-order Marathon right now. You know what your nigga gonna say? Pre-order Marathon?
Only lame niggas say that shit.
Ain't nobody buying that, bro. Ain't nobody fucking buying that game, bro. That alpha was not it. It was not it. And I don't know how much more they can change about that game to get people excited, because what people fail to realize is with these betas, these demos, first impressions is everything. People's is on that Arc Raiders. People's is on that Ghost of Yote. They on that Ninja Gaiden. They on the Battlefield 6, the Red Sec. Warzone is coming out. People don't have time to sit around and wait and hope that your game gets better. So you have to stick the landing the first time, and you didn't. And this puts Bungie in a really bad situation, because I'm curious if Destiny 2 is flopping for them after the acquisition, right? And Marathon is a Super Saiyan flop, like we have a Concord 2 type situation on our hands. If that happens, which I'm not wishing for it, I'm not wishing failure upon anybody. I'm just saying hypothetically, if that happens, I wonder if Sony looks at Bungie and considers dissolving them. And to that, I say, You never want to see people lose their jobs. You never want to see the people. This is just a bad situation. My homie's gonna say, what the fuck is marathon? Yeah, they probably gonna be like, nigga, marathon, let's just hit the weight room. What the fuck you want to run a marathon for? Sony is currently in the I hate my girl phase of the relationship. Yeah, they just dealing with her. Like, if this bitch don't hit the fucking gym, I swear to God, I'm done with her next month, bro. That's the type of shit, the energy that they're on. So let's keep an eye on this story. We're gonna continue to see how it plays out. But Sony is not happy currently with Bungie. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't feel like Bungie has an ace in the hole right now. They're not in a good position. Bungie is looking like the Washington Wizards of the gaming space, unfortunately. Other news. Another company that's probably not happy is Rockstar. According to this article, GTA 6 delay could cost Rockstar $60 million as insiders report the game is content complete. Take-Two Interactive sent the internet into a spin last week when it announced that GTA 6, by now one of the most anticipated game releases of all time, would be delayed another 6 months to November 19, 2026. Although some of us would say, we don't even know if that game, it could get pushed back to 2027. We don't know if that's a real date. Insider reports suggest that the delay will cost Rockstar as much as $60 million, while other reports claim the game is already content complete with the extra time needed for polishing and bug fixing. Can I just explain to y'all how much money 60 million? Do you know how much money you have to have stored up for you to be able to burn through $60 million and then still have the nerve to be a union buster and not give your employees a raise? Just some food for thought. You could just take that $60 million and give everybody a raise, make everybody happy, and then get the game out on time, which would also make gamers happy. Your employees are happy. The gamers are happy. You would be happy too, because you'd be generating money. But just some food for thought. Anyways. Insider Gaming's Tom Henderson revealed the cost of the delay in his November 8 podcast, as reported by Dextero. I got a number from a developer on this, and they think this is going to cost Take-Two $10 million a month extra now. So we're talking an extra $60 million, Henderson added. Henderson added that it could be as much as $100 million with additional costs factored in. So $60 million is the bare minimum number. It could be worse. While $60 million is a huge chunk of money on its own, it's a fairly insignificant sum in the context of GTA 6's projected $2 billion budget. Exactly. They're going to make so much money when the game comes out. And the game is expected to be a huge earner, propping up not just Take-Two's profits, but the entire gaming industry, because rising tides raise all ships. Translation, stop hating and start relating, nigga. Real shit.
Now listen, that's called motherfucking bars, nigga. You know nothing about that.
Rumors and insider reports abound in the wake of the latest GTA 6 delay, with reporter Kiwi Talks claiming early in November that his sources suggested the game is already content complete, but the developers needed more time for polishing to avoid a cyberpunk situation, especially if the game is as large in scale as like the reports claim. That means you could play the game from beginning to end from like the story, but what they're worried about is because the world is so big and there's so many moving pieces, a bug could pop up at any time, and like they're right for that. Cyberpunk's launch, as much as people love Cyberpunk right now, I'll never forget it because I was there at the launch. Cyberpunk had one of the worst launches ever, man. I had some of the most egregious game-breaking bugs I've ever seen in any video game, and they're right to try to get that right. Kiwi Talks also on Twitter, in an attempt to squash rumors that the latest GTA 6 delay was related to the firing of a number of union-aligned developers in the UK. There are 6,000 plus employees working at Rockstar. You aren't delaying a game over 35 people getting laid off, he said, claiming he had also heard Rockstar employees discussing the delay before the firing occurred. Reporter Jason Schreier backed this up, adding, while the fallout from those firings could certainly have a long-term impact on the project and lead to more missed deadlines in the future, due to those vacant roles, protracted legal battles, morale loss, etc., the game did not slip 6 months because 34 people were fired a week ago. Yeah, it's not, 34 people is not going to slow down after like 6,000, but that doesn't change the fact that there are other employees out there demanding better pay in the UK. I still can't believe I beat the original Cyberpunk. It was rough. While the fans are disappointed to have to wait a long time for GTA 6, Stranger Things actor Gaten Matarazzo summed up the general attitude towards the delay, telling Rockstar to take their time, do that delay. We'll be here when it's here. We'll be ready. I mean, what other choice do you have? What other choice do you have? So, you know, sad news today for all the ball and gun gamers. Your favorite company Gonna be losing a lot of money on this delay. What will we do? How we feeling? How we feeling with a few days removed from the news? Do we believe it's coming out in November of 2026? Or are we thinking 2027? I initially played Cyberpunk on the PS4 when it came out. That was not a good time. Oh, you're brave. You're brave. I don't really care. I feel like 2027 because I have a hard time believing that the next gen consoles, the PS6 and the next Xbox, is coming out in 2027. That's the goal they're shooting for. I have a hard time believing that's coming in 2027. I feel like more realistically 2028, which makes me think GTA 6 will come in 2027 and then they'll re-release it in 2028. Spring of 2037. It's gonna be 2027, but who cares? There are too many games to play. We'll see. I can't wait till it comes out. Not because I really want to play it. I'm just tired of hearing about GTA. Oh, shit. You say that until GTA 6 comes out, and then probably about 2 years after the release of GTA 6, that's when all the YouTubers who are thirsty for views will start making videos about rumors on GTA 7. Niggas gonna hop on a sock Reddit account and post a fake rumor and then cover it on their YouTube channel. So I was on the Gaming Leaks and Rumor Reddit, and they said GTA 7, 2032. 2032. What we thinking? What we thinking? Niggas gonna act like they got the disc and shit. You remember when YouTubers was doing that shit? I got an early copy of Grand Theft Auto 5. Here's the disc, or 6, whatever this fucking shit was. Ball and Gun Company is still hilarious. Shout out to the Ball and Gun gamers, man. Shout out to the Ball and Gun gamers. Former Nintendo of America president says that the console wars are over. Shout out to the big sop I say, big Reggie Fils-Aimé. Reggie Fils-Aimé has been a busy guy in retirement. The former president of Nintendo America has written a book and serves on several advisory boards. Of course, his love for games has not gone away, and Reggie enjoys talking about them whenever he gets his chance. This includes a recent sit-down interview with Christopher Dring of the game business. Over roughly 45 minutes, the two touched on various topics, including the success of the Nintendo Switch 2. Perhaps the biggest topic, though, is the current state of the industry, notably how things are headed to unprecedented times. GameStop recently joked on social media that the console war was over following the news that Halo Campaign Evolved was coming to PlayStation. It's something that Reggie confirms. The console wars are over, especially since he recognized that the Xbox brand is a big third-party publisher that also makes some hardware. Because of this, he views them as someone who is no longer competing directly with Sony and the PlayStation brand. Reggie feels that Microsoft needs to take the extra step and bring its games not just to the PlayStation platform, but also the Nintendo Switch. He specifically says, I think for their software, for Microsoft software to reach the largest audience, I think it would be in their best interest to find ways for the Xbox software beyond Minecraft to make its way to the Nintendo platform. So from that standpoint, direct warfare is over. And to that, I say, love Reggie, but I don't agree with this. The console war, let me tell y'all something, man. The console war will never be over until two things happen. And one of them, I don't see it happening anytime soon. First and foremost, wages got to be raised in the United States. Because in my opinion, the reason the console war even exists is because most people, if you're a hardcore gamer and you could afford every platform, you would buy them. If you're a hardcore gamer. I believe most people partake in the console war because they can't afford the other one. So it's like a tongue-in-cheek thing. Oh, I can only afford an Xbox or a PlayStation, so I'm gonna go at them niggas because I can't afford. But if you could afford everything, this shit wouldn't exist. That's number one. In order for that to happen, quality of life has to improve in the world, and you know these corporations. Walmart is not raising they not raising the fucking the minimum wage. Come on now. The second thing, and another thing I don't think is ever going to happen to end the console war, for that to be real. I'm not even going to say it about Sony. Nintendo has to give up their IPs to other platforms. And let me tell you something. I would bet a paycheck that fucking Nintendo as a company would rather collapse. The Nintendo CEOs would rather get shot with a Mario plushie. No, a Nintendo CEO would rather get shot with a fucking Mario contract in their hand, owning the rights to Mario and Zelda in their hands before they give it over to somebody. You're gonna have to take it. They're not giving that up, bro. I refuse to believe Nintendo. Sony will give up IPs before Nintendo. We know them niggas go after emulators. They go after fan-made games. These niggas go after fan art. Don't you dare draw a Bowsette. The fan-made Bowsette, the combination between Bowser and fucking Peach, which I don't understand. They going after niggas drawing Bowsette. You think they're gonna give up their IPs? No. That nigga Miyamoto said, you're gonna have to come over and hit me with a sword just like Link. You're gonna have to hot upside my fucking head before we give up. Hot. Ah. It's not happening. So the console war is not, it's never gonna fucking end because corporations are not gonna give up strong IPs. I don't believe that shit, bro. I think that Microsoft is rolling over it because their current leadership, their heart is not in it. It's not the same people that made Xbox back in the early 2000s and going into the 360. I just don't think the Xbox brand is hungry. I don't think they're hungry. I don't think they want to compete. And they sat around and they said to themselves, how can we maximize profit for the Xbox division under the Microsoft umbrella without trying too hard? And they said, wait a minute. What if we put Gears of War, Forza, and Master Chief on the fucking PlayStation and the Nintendo Switch? And everybody looked around and they was like, yeah, that would generate sales. And the funny part is they're not wrong. It will generate sales, but two things are going to happen from this. Two, you're going to dilute brand identity and brand loyalty, meaning like your fans and also what the Xbox stands for. And then two, it's going to make you even more complacent. This decision in itself to put your games everywhere, it's a complacent plan that's going to make you money in the short term, but I don't know if it's going to make you money in the long run, because you also need to continue to innovate and put out new original IPs. Will they do that? Only time will tell. I don't know. I don't know. I think they was betting on Activision a little too much. They thought Call of Duty was really that shit. And it's like, bro, not that fucking important. Call of Duty is not worth $30 a month just to rent. No, thank you. Dream calls back to when the console wars were at their peak during the PS3, Xbox 360 days, pointing out how the two companies use competition to breed innovation, especially given the success of the Nintendo Wii and its motion controls, which were famously later adapted by both Sony and Microsoft. He fears that with Xbox pulling away and Nintendo content doing its own thing, we will eventually see a stale market. It's something that Reggie agrees with wholeheartedly. I don't think the PS3 and Xbox 360 days were the peak of the console wars. Because I feel like that was more like friendly competition. I feel like the peak of the console wars was like that PS2 era. Like they killed the fucking Dreamcast and like the GameCube and shit. I would say it was like the last hurrah for the console war, probably. Now it's more lighthearted, but I don't think it was the peak. Like kids on the playground used to really argue about that shit. Chill, TVH. Reggie just running a classic Trojan horse. He is. It's funny because Reggie retired from Nintendo, but low key, this is a play for Nintendo. He just doing little, you know, it sure would be great. Sure would be great if fucking you just you know, put your games over there. Nah, that was the PS4 era for the console war. Nah, PS4 is the beginning of the broke nigga era. It's not the console war. PS4 is the beginning of the COVID gamer, the loudmouth COVID gamer, the gamer who bought their first console during COVID because they were stuck in the house so they could play Fortnite all day, and loves to watch the Game Awards and didn't play any of the games and run their fucking mouth about shit. That's PS4 is the dawn of the COVID gamers. Well, shut the fuck up. And upgrade their it's the dawn. I'd argue PS4 is the dawn of the COVID gamer, the gamer who doesn't understand you are supposed to upgrade your consoles. You're not supposed to be begging for ports. You should be thankful anytime a game comes to an old console. Otherwise, shut the fuck up. You have a fucking teenager. Yo, shout out to Ash with the sub. Appreciate it. Yeah, they holding a PS4 right now. Please, 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 man. He said the height of the conflict was the 360 PS3. That's funny the way you worded the height of the conflict. The PS4 was it was the Cold War type shit, bro. PS4 is the greatest console of all time. I don't agree with that. I do believe that competition, not only is it not the greatest console of all time, it's not even close. I don't even think it's close. I would put PS2, GameCube, 360, I throw the Dreamcast in there. Yeah, PS4 is not even in my top 5. Nah, it's not. But I didn't have the PS. I might do Super Nintendo. Yeah, I might do Super Nintendo. Nah. But oh, N64. Yeah, N64 was a class. It's gonna change from person to person. PSP could be in there. Yeah, look at all these things people are naming. If you want to throw handhelds in there, like, nah, PS4 is not a top 5 console. It's not. And if you think it is, you're one of those. You're literally one of those COVID gamers I just described. I'm so young, so I barely experienced the PS2. That's a perspective too. I can see that. If you're young and that's why I said it's like nostalgia probably. You didn't get to live through that era where we didn't pay for online games, where you got the game on the disc and it worked. Where there were new innovative games coming out all the fucking time. As well as all the bullshit too. But different strokes for different folks. Google Stadia top 5. Google Stadia top 5. PS4 was the start of too many unneeded remakes and remasters. Agreed. And excessive greed as well, since we're on the word greed. The PS4 and the Xbox One was the start of excessive greed. That was the era where Xbox was trying to make it to where you couldn't use the Xbox One unless it was always connected to the internet, because they needed to ping your Xbox every 30 seconds. Niggas said, fuck no. What? We're just trying to put a disc in that bitch.